All right. Welcome back to Black Tower Tales. Following Wiggins and Nick's Shadow Cloak, I'm Body. I'll be your player dungeon master for today. Last time, what happened was Wiggins had found a magic potion at the bottom of the collapsed hallway in a room that he was able to take back to Nyx and give her and bring her back to health. But when he arrived back at the room, there was the ghost of her dead sister hovering over him, and he needed to fight the ghost and uh, bring Nyx back to health in order to get the ghost to stop attacking him. Ultimately, the ghost did, I guess, for all we know, like merge with the sister or do something associated with that, where the ghost basically touched the sister and it looked like she was absorbed into her. And that is with Nyx being back in a healthy state, not at like full health or anything, because she had only drank a healing potion. Um, with that, Nyx is uh, awake and is able to interact with Wiggins, and they can start getting out of the dungeon, and that's the expected scene that we're going into here, that we're going to test versus the chaos factor. But I did have a question mark as far as like the number of rooms. When we first figured out this dungeon, we decided it was going to have 7 rooms, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's potentially one more exit or one more room aside from this triangular room. Probably it would be at the bottom of this pit, but it's looking like there's going to be some way. There may be one room up here outside of the triangle. But and so for now, the expected scene is Nyx and Wiggins. Actually, do I think they're going to talk and sit and see what, like, figure out what happened? Of course they are. They're going to do that. But um, in the meantime, they're going to be starting to pack up their stuff and get the hell out of this dungeon. So testing the expected scene, we're rolling versus the chaos factor. We're at chaos 5, and so that's a 10, and we're not going to be having an interrupt scene or a altered scene. So as Nyx and Wiggins make their way through the dungeon, so they start out in this room right here, and they're heading back through the soup kitchen. They're actually going to swing back towards the room that was collapsed in on, and pick up the treasure that they found there. So let's add that to their sheet. It's an additional 36 gold, so that's 79 that they have total, 103 silver, and 713, so they have 816, and then 33 platinum. And so that's a good amount of treasure that they've got coming out of this dungeon. Do I think that's 80 gold pieces, 800 silver, and 33 platinum? I think that's starting to get pretty heavy. So that says to me that they're starting to move kind of slowly, because they've got 800 pieces of silver. Like, even if that's 800 ounces, right? Maybe it's 800 ounces of like sterling silver, but it's still 800 ounces. That's what, at Troy ounces, that's somewhere around 40 pounds, 30 pounds. Um, no, 60 pounds actually, because it's 15 ounces per pound. Uh, so 150 would be 10 pounds. 300 would be 20 pounds. So that's just south of 60 pounds, somewhere around 50 pounds of silver. And then the platinum and the gold would be heavy as well. But that's getting heavy. Like, actually, I'm curious, do they even have something that's going to be able to carry that? Um, without like because there's chests around. They could take that. I'm gonna say that's unlikely. So going on the fate chart, I'm gonna say that's unlikely that they would have a bag that's robust enough. But 31, they are able to. So they are able to carry it. It's still gonna weigh them down. It's still gonna slow them down because it's so much weight. And I mean, they're gnomes. They're not exactly strong individuals. But their bags are robust enough. Like especially with Nyx being like a roguey thiefy person, she's gonna be used to carrying a bunch of loot at once, right? But as they travel, there's gonna be sort of talking, and this happened while they were still packing up their stuff too. Talking between them about like what the hell happened back in that sacrificial room, and sort of Nyx is like, what the hell did you like? You went. Why did you do that? Like um, it doesn't make any sense because they just got married like a week ago, right? So it's not like, I mean, I guess actually that's a question that I just assumed was one way, but we don't know for sure. I guess is the question is Wiggins just an abusive partner? That's a possibility. And this is just something that maybe was brought out in him this one time, or maybe this is just I guess the question is Wiggins just in general an abusive partner? Like he's not an evil person, so I don't know. I wouldn't say that it's even 50-50. I think it would be unlikely or very unlikely. Man, I think near impossible, honestly, because part of my reasoning for it being near the impossible is I don't want that to be part of his character, but maybe it is. Um, but I'm gonna say nearly impossible. Chaos 5, 81. So okay, so that's not a hell no, but that's a no. So it's not that Wiggins is actually an abusive partner, that he has a history of this with maybe past partners or with Nyx. Um, so that's part of why Nyx is so confused about it. It's like, what the hell's going on? He's like, Wiggins is, I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. I It was like I didn't have control of my body, and um, it's just something about the magic in this area um, made him lose control of himself. He just went crazy. The way I think of it in my head is like it's like the guy in The Shining where he uh, sort of was just driven crazy by the isolation, right? Um, my question is he's trying to persuade Nyx of this. So this is going to be, I guess, a charisma roll, and he's not lying. So it's not like he's trying to fool her. Like there's another word for that I can think of, but his charisma is a 10. Okay, rolls a 10, and her wisdom here has that she has a +1 for to see if does she believe him? Does she read the way he's saying things properly? 16. So yeah, so she believes him. They do live in like a world of magic and stuff, and it's something that's very uncharacteristic of him. So they I guess kiss and make up, right? Like it's um, so I don't know. I feel like that sort of doesn't make sense, but I don't know of a better way to resolve this. I think though that they gather up all the treasure that they've found down here, and as a part of a way to try to make things right, what Wiggins is going to do is he's going to torch. He's going to do what they can, or they're going to work together to just like destroy that the sacrificial altar room with all the dangling shrunken heads of various species of humanoids. And essentially, what I think, what Wiggins is going to do is he's going to take the time. He's going to sit outside the door so he doesn't like risk going crazy again. But basically, he's going to sit and take. It's going to be a skill challenge essentially. Index Card RPG has a name for them. Um, an attempt. Yeah, it's an attempt of basically he's gonna take an hour and to get as many hearts as he can in 1 hour while like casting this spell and doing magic basically to try and make an explosion for this room that they'll set off shortly after they leave. And basically, however, he's going to get a certain number of attempts, and then however many hearts he fills up is how effective this casting is going to be. But while he's casting, of course, there's going to be the chance of random events occurring in this dungeon. So basically, Nyx is gonna sit and heal her wounds a little bit. It's not really a safe area, but they'll be on guard and she'll be able to rest up a bit. So she's going to actually that's not going to happen until after the hour has passed. So basically there's, I'll say 10-minute sections of time as Wiggins is preparing this sort of explosive incantation. And what's going to happen is there's 6 rounds of his magic preparation that he's going to do intelligence rolls, and based on the success of them and the magic effort that he does, he's going to fill up hearts, and at least 1 heart will mean there'll be an explosion in this room. The more hearts, sort of, the better. So as this goes on, the first of the 6 rounds, he's going to basically be starting to figure out this incantation and like the scope of it and what it's going to do. Wow, a natural 20. So that's starting off really on the right foot. So we need a D12 and a D8 in order to figure that out, because we get ultimate effort. And remember, ultimate dies explode in index card RPG, which is interesting. So he starts off modestly. That's a 6 effort in the first round. So I think in this, we're also he gets the opportunity to choose like the kind of magic that he's doing. So it's not just that it's going to be an explosion down here. I think he's trying to prepare a spell that is sort of like exceptionally hot, and it is like really good at melting the stone of this dungeon. So it's like, so for the next round, he's going to be attempting again versus target 12. He only has a +2. Oh, actually, we have a magic effort +3, so that's actually a 9 on the effort roll. But for the second round, he attempts to do some more. He's casting in his ritual spell. Maybe he's reading from his spell book a little bit, but he basically takes this time to prepare for the next round and doesn't actually contribute a whole lot to the actual casting. Once again, this round he sort of actually he loses his place in his spell book, thinking like, oh, where was I looking for that? He was referencing one thing to try to figure out, okay, how could he cast this spell in this other certain way, and basically takes that round once again and doesn't contribute any effort to the roll. We have 6 rounds total. 16 becomes an 18, and with this he gets to roll a d8 for magic effort, and with a +3 that becomes a 7. So they've got 16 total effort towards this. Now that's 4 rounds total. I've got one question though, is I have for the 3 rounds halfway through, we're going to have a chance of a random event happening. And let's see, we've got, I think we have a random encounter table here, or should we just roll? Nah, we're just going to go with, I think it's unlikely for there to be a random event because this is a very deathly quiet dungeon. So let's say it is Very unlikely for a random event to happen while he's doing this, but that's still a 25% chance at Chaos 5. And at 38, we're not going to have a random event yet. So now we're into the 5th round. He once again casts or attempts to cast versus target, and actually just barely makes it with a 12 when the target is 12. And with this d8, gets a +3, that's a 5. So now we're at 21 effort total on the 5th round. So we have 2 hearts of effort contributed to casting this destructive explosion spell. And for this 3rd and final round, we're going to have him roll a 17, becomes a 19. Once again, we roll our d8 to see how much effort he's contributing to this. And with a 6 and 9, that actually brings us up to 30 total effort. That's 3 hearts of effort towards blowing up this room. He really, like, this is actually turning into a fairly successful spell. From his the references he was making in his spell book, and then finally everything sort of towards the end just started to click, and he's just like, kablamo, right? Maybe not that, but the thing that I have to question, though, is, like, as he's finishing up his spell, is there a random event that's happening? Once again, I'm going to say very unlikely, but that's still a 25% chance. And at a 70, we do not have a random event. So basically, Nyx is sitting there, potentially healing herself. She's going to have... the way I think healing works in Index Card RPG is you get to heal 1... When you're not in a safe environment, because this isn't exactly a safe environment, you get to heal 1 plus your con. Actually, I think she needs to make a con check for that to see if she's able to heal. Target 12 once again, and natural 1. Okay, so she's not able to heal during this time. She's sort of just sitting on guard, watching Wiggins as he attempts to destroy this room down here. And sort of the hour passes. Wiggins finally is like, yes, it's finally complete. And then he does this. The last part of the spell is to set a time limit on a timer, basically, on when it's going to explode, because he doesn't want it to blow up right now. And he says, how long do I think he's going to have? They know that they've got this gap in the floor that they want to traverse, but I think he's going to set like a 10-minute timer on it. So basically, he's got this huge destructive spell that's going to go off in this dungeon, and they're going to try to get out before the explosion goes off, because he's thinking, man, there might actually be some consequences to the structural integrity of this dungeon, some additional consequences if this goes off and they're still down here. They could be in trouble. So with that, actually, I think that's going to be the end of the scene. With that, the spell is set, the timer's the spell is cast, the timer's set, and Wiggins and Nyx start heading out of the dungeon. Wiggins is already sort of familiar, so they start heading out, and that is actually going to be the end of this scene. This is going to be like a short-term thread, but basically they have 10 minutes to escape the dungeon. And with that, let's see, for scene 16, chaos. I think chaos goes down, because that didn't seem very chaotic. He failed a couple checks, but whatever. That's not necessarily chaotic. Chaos 4. Target 12. I think we go up to target 13, actually, because he did sort of have an easy time at that. He had, especially with having 30 effort and 3 hearts worth of preparation here. But yeah, with that, do we have any cast and thread changes? We do have this thread of the exploding dungeon. But that thread is probably going to resolve pretty soon here. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, that's our scene for today. Cool. We'll see you next time.